Hi, this is Dr. Dan Ratner. Today I am joined once again by Edgar for the third session in my mind-body consultations, and we are going to look at the power column. I really look forward to seeing the progress he's now made after two weeks of working on this. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below, and I'll get back to you personally. And finally, you can reserve your place in one of my seminars or purchase any of my mind-body guides, also known as the PDFs, at www.crushingdoubt.org. Hi, Edgar. Welcome back. It is a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, Dr. Dan. Thank you. Happy to see you as well.
So how are you doing? We're finding our way in this, and we've had some really powerful, things happen. I assume you haven't been pulled over since last time, but you had a great pulled over experience last time.
I did. Actually, I did, and it was interesting because this past week I went away this past week. I went to Vegas, and the first two sessions we had, I was at home, so I felt like I was actually getting it and controlling it. And the minute I stepped out of my comfort zone and I went to Vegas, I started experiencing pains, and I was just driving myself crazy because I'm like, where's this coming from? And I couldn't pin it, It was like, why am I feeling so much like that tingling pain down my leg? That was happening before I started the sessions with you, and then now afterwards, I don't feel at all. And here I am in Vegas for 4 days, and it's like non-stop.
Wow! Did it go once you left Vegas?
Yes.
Oh, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Exactly. So I don't know if it was the whole, I think Vegas is so overrated, like it's just so expensive and like so busy. And I don't know if it was that stress of everything, going on top. But I really tried, and I was trying, to get into my head and be like, what's going on? What's going on? What am I thinking? What am I thinking? But it was just like nonstop.
Well, here's the way here's the way you could think about it, and then we're going to get into what we're going to do today. You could think of it as your body was telling you weren't happy about something. We can get to what the specifics are, but the place that I start is simply my body's telling me I'm not happy. I mean, I wouldn't be having these symptoms if not. And one thing that's great for you with respect to doubt that we talked about last time is you can see it now. You can see that the symptoms come and go based on your emotional experience or maybe what you're thinking about the doubt of things. So your doubt is shrinking. It's really going away. And you're able to use your emotions column pretty well. We can hone it even better so that you'd have a better chance when you're in Vegas or whatever's going on and you're having pain. We can zap those. It's going to get better and better. But you're on a just a fantastic path.
Well, I feel like I am, and like that, the pain, like this pain in Vegas, now I know it's like a mind body, Not like I know this pain is not towards anything else because I was feeling it like I said before we started, and then after we started, I felt like I had control of it, but it was an experience to be outside of my comfort zone and just be there and experience it, and I felt like it was cool because it kept me going into my own head where like, what's going on? What's going on, Edgar? What's going on? Like try to enjoy yourself. Don't, like trying to pin it. And then the minute I left, pain gone. That's weird.
Pretty incredible. And that's the kind of thing that becomes very, very convincing. You'll never lose that experience. You'll always be able to look back. If you have a pain, you'll be able to think, well, wait a minute. I've been here before, right? So this is it's going very, very well. We've got your emotions column is pretty well built out. We can always check in again if we need to hone it in some way. Your doubt column is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. You paired an emotional experience with a change in physical symptoms. That's the number one thing that can really penetrate doubt. So what we're going to do today is the third column.
Okay.
There's these three columns. And next session, we'll get into the action step, which covers all three columns. What are you going to do about each one? I'll spend some time on each column. But today, I really want to nail down the power column. So let me explain what it is again. I've mentioned it before, but it's hard to get your head around when you don't know the system. So the power column is the state of your relationship with yourself. It's whether you feel good in relation to your relationship with yourself. It's actually three things: relationship with the self, relationship with others, and relationship with symptoms. Now, your relationship with symptoms has gotten better since we started. Yes. You have a very different way of relating to it. Your relationship with yourself has also gotten better, from what I've heard. And your relationship with others, at least in some measure, has gotten better, because it did with the cop. That was one aspect of that. So they're all getting better. But what the power column work does is give you a chance to kind of map out what makes you feel powerful with other people and what makes you feel not powerful with other people. And I'm going to give you an example that I think you can relate to. You're a comedian. When you're on stage and you're making people laugh, I bet that's a hugely powerful feeling.
No, of course. It is.
And, I don't know what happens if you get on stage and you're bombing or something like that. Does that bring down power?
It feels like you're drowning. It feels if you're on stage and it's not going the way you want it, trust me, you drown up there. Those minutes turn into hours,
Yes, the power goes down. So this actually isn't that complicated from the vantage point that when you're in power, it feels good. When you're not in power, it feels bad. In some ways, it's that simple. Controlling the power, understanding it in more specifics and being able to control it is a different story, but I'm going to map that out for you. I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay. But that's the basic idea. So here's what we do in the power column. We're going to look at those three different elements. The relationship with yourself and how that's going, good or bad. The relationship with others, good or bad. And it could be that we'll look at specific other people that cause those kinds of issues. And then the relationship with the symptoms and where that's currently at or how it bounces around. But the first step, the first half of the power column session is something that I call the core narrative. Don't get caught up on the terminology. It doesn't matter. Just focus in on what it means. What it means is it's a statement that sums up who you are, what happened to you in your life that was hard and what it did to you, how it affected you, and what are you going to do to live differently. Now, you'll need my help with that third part especially, but the core narrative is 3 sentences long. And each sentence can be long to some degree. What we want to do is pinpoint the different sentences and get out of it exactly what I just said. So we're just going to start with sentence 1. I'm going to guide you through the whole thing. Okay. Sentence 1 is, who are you at your core? And the way that we think about this is we're going to look at those emotional themes, remember from the emotions column? And if you could mash them into one giant clump and then come up with a statement that says who you are, what's your main storyline of your life, that's what we need to do. And we can do it in one of 2 ways. You could give it a try, or I can give it a try. But either way, we're going to shape it together.
All right, I would like for you to give it a try.
That is what almost everybody says. So to do this, Edgar, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back to your emotions column and read me the themes, because I'm going to formulate that sentence from these themes. And it's not that I don't know the themes, but it'll refresh me.
Okay, yeah. Danger can come out of nowhere instantly and wreck your life. Deep down, I knew that my family didn't improve with my comedy and, with my career in comedy. I never felt that the other person worked harder than me in a relationship. Why am I always willing to give more? And then disappointments and hurt and losing time.
Okay. So I'm gonna make a statement. I'm not saying this is gonna be perfect. The way I do it is it's like I throw out a target. I say, here, what do you think of this? And then we start to shape things. You might say that word doesn't fit as well as I want, or you know what, we're missing a part of it. You'll know. And when we get the right sentence that feels like it's you, you'll feel like it'll click and you'll be like, yeah, that's it. Okay? So I'm going to take a stab at it. Let's try something like this. And I want you to write it down so you can look at it and think about it. I am a person who has never felt fully appreciated and accepted for who I am and what my talents are.
Mm-hmm.
And this has left me feeling profoundly alone and not sure how I can fix it. Okay, that was just an attempt. I don't know if it's right, but I took the most important elements of your emotional themes and put them here. Some of them are going to go in the second sentence, but let's start with this. How did that sit with you?
Yeah.
Does it capture you?
You pretty much, you nailed it a lot, I think you pretty much nailed it,
Does it feel like that moment?
It feels, I feel like, I do feel like I haven't been accepted or appreciated as much as I think I deserve, I do feel that way.
And I mean, especially for who you are, your comedy or your brand of emotionality. Like when you and I did the show with Eric, one of the things we're doing in that show, which, by the way, everybody who's watching this, there's going to be a show coming out with me and Edgar and another man named Eric, and we talk about some of the vulnerability of being the problems with vulnerability in men more, and how to deal with that. So I think that show came out of your experience. It comes out of this first sentence. You haven't been appreciated fully for who you are as a man, as an individual, as a person who works harder than the other person in the relationship in general, as a comedian, in your soul. Is there anything we've left out from the core you? We can always revisit.
Feel like, and which is a good thing, that we could always revisit, because I got the first episode when you guys uploaded it, and I got to hear it all over again, and it's like I could answer the questions differently, in the spur of the moment. You answer, but then once you revisit it, you're like, okay, now I could go a different way. So and caring, I feel like I care way too much, which like it, not judge people, but like judge myself on who deserves this care, like not everybody deserves the caring me. So it's like I'm always like battling with that, like who should I give that to? So
let's add that into the sentence, that you tend to feel that you care more than the other people.
Not so much more than the other people, but I just, I just care. I feel like I care way too much, too much, and not everyone deserves that.
Okay, so it's almost like you're drowning in caring. There's too much. I don't know if I have
other people's problems become my problems. I'll drown in that as well, thinking that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to help people out, and I am helpful, and I am caring, and I am a good guy, and I am. I've gotten it from a lot of people, but, you hear everybody else's things, and you're like, you know? And then at times, you feel like when you need someone the most, now you're hesitant to ask.
So
meanwhile, everybody's been getting it out of me all along,
Yep. So read the sentence back to me, and now let's get that idea in there, because that's too central of a part of you to not have in that kind of core element of you. Read back what you have.
All right, so I'm going to read this back as much as I could write, because you put so much pressure on me on writing fast. So I don't know what I know I missed a couple of things. Okay. I just like scribbled it, but it says, I am a person who has never felt fully appreciated and accepted for who I am and what's my talents, right? That was it? No?
Say more. Say it again. What the last part? And
for who I am and what my...
I would say something like, and what talents I bring to the table.
Talents. I think it's talents and what my talents are.
Mm-hmm.
And it has left me wanting more.
It has left me wanting more. And, comma, in addition, I'll take it nice and slow.
Yeah, because I'm a Latino, and, I wish I could show you this. I'm going to show you this piece of paper when we're done. You're going to be like, what? And in addition,
the depth of my caring leaves me flooded by other people and overwhelmed. Does that feel right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see this paper.
You don't want to see it. Trust me, you don't.
Okay. I thought you were going to make a joke that when I said, okay, read back what you have, you could be like, that's all I got.
I'll show you. Look at this. Look at this hot mess I got here. Look at this.
Okay, but that's actually great that you showed the viewers, because that's not atypical at all. The mind-body map is a complete mess at first. But it's
and I've been dying, and I scribble it and I do it in my own way, so only I can understand it. Which is all my books. You can see any of my writing books. I do it in a purpose so nobody understands what I write, but only I know what it is. So it's like my own doctor's way.
It's like the Enigma code. All right, so now we're gonna move to the second sentence, because we could revisit this, we could shape it, but we have a basic idea of who you are at your core right there. Mm-hmm. It's the central element of you and how you experience yourself. The second sentence is about what it has done to you. How has it impacted you in your life? So I want you to think about, and let's brainstorm some things. How has this impacted you? And let's write these notes down, and then we'll make it into a sentence.
When it comes to the relationships, it has impacted me because not that I've given up, but it's just like now I'm afraid to commit because of all the letdowns before.
Okay,
so it has I feel like I'm a hopeless romantic, if that makes any sense. That's how I feel. Like in every relationship I try to make the best of it, and now I feel like questioning myself. Am I the problem? Is it me? Is it me that why everything starts out so good and then it ends so nasty? So it's me. Am I the problem? And doubts, whether if I could make this happen or not.
So I would
say
when
it comes to relationships.
Yep, but that's such a central part of who you are and looking for that connection. Mm-hmm. So I would say something like, you said you're a hopeless romantic, but in this part of the sentence, I think that the second sentence is in a way the most depressing of the three ones. The third sentence is great. It's about what can happen positively. But here I would say, I have grown hopeless that I can make the kind of connection I want. I have wondered if I am the problem. I have become filled with doubt about me and the world.
Hold on.
Oh boy. Yeah, sorry.
I wonder if I'm the problem.
Mm-hmm. I have become filled with doubt. About my capability or the goodness and safety of the world.
And goodness and safety of the world.
Okay, what else has it done? That's what's done in terms of relationships. These sentences can be a bit long sometimes. It's okay. And we put it all down and then we start squeezing it down. Mm-hmm. What else has this lack of recognition, the way...
When it comes to my career, I feel like at times I'm my own worst enemy.
Say
as
a bit.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Like I feel like I'll judge myself more than anyone else. I question it. Am I doing the right thing? Is this gonna work? How long should I do this? How much more should I pursue this dream? Yeah. I feel like I hold myself back from being myself, which I am when I'm on stage, which is the only place that to me makes complete sense, because there's nothing happening but what's happening at that moment. So
Yeah.
all the problems go away when I'm on stage, which is what I told you, that I wanted to bring the person on stage off stage at all times.
Perfect. Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So I feel like, the family support, friends looking at you like, what are you doing? You know, like what do you know, like I feel like all those doubts have held me back more than what I could hold myself back.
Okay, so I would say, and it has damaged my confidence in my career, my comedy, and my ability to be fully myself. As often as possible. And then I
have somebody writing this for me.
Yeah, no, this is
my comedy and the ability.
I joke about that. It's like
you're putting all this pressure on me. I feel like I'm in school.
There's no pressure. These are just notes. We're gonna hone it. You know, you could. Here's a good example. I mean, Edgar, these are just ideas that give you the idea of the way it should be organized. But if you wanted to cut it down into very simple sentences that basically were just like, first sentence is, I never felt valued for myself. That could be your first sentence. And your second sentence could be, it has gotten in the way in relationships and in my career. You know,
simple.
You could keep it really simple, and you want it to speak to you in the way your language is. Like, I write these long sentences, and that works for me. I can hold on to those ideas. But for some people, they want to crunch it down. Meanwhile, you could have a long version and a short version. That's also fine.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we need this to click in your mind so that you know what we're talking about. But like if I said to you, your core narrative so far essentially is you never felt accepted for who you fully are, and it has made you feel unsafe in the world, in relationships, and in your career. We basically nailed it right there.
Simple, yeah. And then I wouldn't have to write all those things that you told me to write.
That's true, but like you wouldn't have gotten your exercise.
Big words that I'm like, how do you spell this? You know, and like I'm all over the mind. Now my mind is wondering, what am I spelling? Yeah, but I do agree with you on that one. I mean, you pretty much nailed it with that one.
Okay. So if you want to write down the simplified version and that works better, do that. That's fine.
And this is something that we always do, right? This is something that, I mean, it could be endless, like you say. Every time I could think of something that bothers me and that holds me back. So these are more like doubts, right?
Well, they relate to doubts, but the thing about the core narrative is it's really not going to change that much. Because what it is it's the central experience you've had of your life and the central problem it's caused, and then the central solution. So the doubt column is always changing. That comes and goes. It's a flowing thing. Your emotions flow too, but your themes are pretty locked into place. We might revisit them. We might find, you know what, I didn't capture this theme well enough. Or maybe a new theme comes in. I mean, let's say you get into a relationship and a new setup comes in, and it's a whole new set of problems and good things at the same time.
Yeah, that things you got to get to adapt to as well.
So
right?
Your emotions column can change some. Your doubt column changes all the time. But your core narrative isn't going to change much at all. This is the story of you. And the story of you so far is you did not feel fully appreciated for who you are, and it made relationships and even your career choice feel unsafe. That's what we've got so far with the first two sentences.
Okay.
We have a nice complicated version if you want it, but that gives you some more details. But I think of the core narrative as like an emotional mantra. I take it with me wherever I go. I think about who I am. I'll give you mine, the basics of it. The basics of mine, because my father died when I was young, and I endured some other things that made me doubt my own validity. I didn't feel valid as a person. It made me shy away from relationships and keep to myself, and I felt alone my whole life. Now, that's not actually true in recent years, but that's my first two sentences. And you can hear it's pretty similar to yours. It's just there might be a different focus. So the third part here is, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to shift this? And we've already been doing it. So now the third sentence, in a way, especially with you, because you've been doing so well with this so far, we're going to describe what you've been doing. So how have we shifted it so far? What would you say we've done that has shifted it?
I say, shift it. What do you mean? Like as far as like the pain or?
Well, we've shifted the pain, but I think we've also shifted your hope.
Yeah. So the hope, it's got me thinking more, Now I'm trying to live in the moment and trying to see what is it? What's going on with me? It's made me see myself even more, like, okay, this is things that need to come out.
So I'm going to give you a long sentence. Okay. You're going to get more exercise. I'm going to make you sweat.
Yo, it's hot in here. I feel like, look at this. Look. It's so hot in here.
And it's
LA weather.
It's a mind-body experience, too. You said I'm putting the pressure on you and dripping with sweat.
Yeah. You see this? You put it. I can't read and write in public.
Right. So we're going to, I think so far, what I would say that you've done is that you have begun, I would say, I am now committed to paying closer attention through my body and through my experience to what is actually happening for me and being in the present moment with it so that I can understand what I need, be in my own corner and go for what I want and need more. And you know what? I just realized you don't even need to write it down. We're recording it.
Yeah, thank you. I just realized the same thing. I'm like, when this comes out, I could revisit.
Just write it down. You'll have to watch it.
But it's true. But it has happened within the past few weeks where a doubt comes in, and I visit it right away, as opposed to letting it take me over. Like, no, this is, everything's gonna be all right. Like, no, I'm better than this. No, I'm not gonna let that get to me. And I was trying to do that in Vegas when I was in Vegas. But it was just so much, and it was like, I was like, wow, I was going crazy. And I am, but now every time I feel something, like I'm in that moment. I'm not entertaining the pain. I'm not saying where is this pain coming from as a physical part of my body, but up here. So I'm questioning myself more.
Right.
And seeing it better and seeing me as a better person as well,
So I couldn't hear anything better, based on what.
I thought you couldn't hear what I just said. I was like, for real, because it's never gonna happen again the same way.
Yeah, I know. Well, we have it on recording also, so it's here forever. But it's the best thing I could hear. It's the best thing I would want for you, and I think this is the guiding principle of the work that I do: is you take what's happening in your body as a clue about who you are. It's expressing who you are. If you pay attention to it and you follow it, you will get what you need. And it's already happening.
So when it comes to these questions, right, like the first one, I guess me realizing this about myself, that's the power of moving on, right?
Yeah.
So then you never let that, okay, it's there. It's always going to be a part of me. It's always, in me. But I guess realizing it is what it's all about,
Yeah, and I think part of what you have been conveying and what you've shared with me about what you've experienced in this is you have become more powerful in your relationship with you. I think when you first came to see me, you didn't feel very powerful really anywhere in a way. I mean, maybe on stage. I think you felt like that's where you could be you, and like there I think you had it, but you wanted that person on stage to come out into the rest of life, right? That's what you said.
I said, you know what it was, that this past year and a half was so hard with everything that happened. Now, after the sessions with you, I could see how much worse I made the situation by accepting what was around me. Like, oh, I got pain. I'm pain. I just had surgery. I had this. I had that. So it's like you could easily fall into that, and when people want you to do something, you could blame whatever, oh, I don't want to do nothing because I'm in pain, or I don't want to do this, and And I dug myself in such a hole during this whole 2020 that it was so hard for me to see it, you know what I'm saying? So speaking to you, it was like, wow, you know? So it's like a reality, it's like an eye-opener. And every day that goes by, I realize a moment that happened last year where I was in my lowest point, and I'd be like, man, you know what? I could have made that better, you know? Because now I'm seeing it better.
Yeah. I mean, I did want to say,
I do appreciate, I like as well, because, you know, yeah, you try to fix every little aspect of it.
I do want to say, just being empathic to you about it, you didn't have the information you needed. You know, you were trying, but you didn't have the information you need. One thing I love about what we're doing here, and we can this is going to show a lot of people that it doesn't actually take that much to change things radically if you get the right information in the way that you can receive it. And you have. So I agree with you that you now... Go ahead.
And I was so... Before we started this, I was already in the positive state of mind of telling myself, think positive, you know, think positive, throw everything positive, say things out loud to yourself, you know, and the good things will happen. You know, it was really hard. 2020 was really, really hard. But now I'm seeing it, you know, I'm definitely seeing it better, you know, like I feel good. I really do feel good, you know. And I had another thing to tell you, but I completely forgot.
Well, we will have it on. We have it on screen. You having the thought. We don't know what it was. It was a beautiful thought.
But I like watching it because I could go back and answer it all over again.
You'll be like, oh, yeah, I remember.
That's what I wanted to say.
Anything important, though, will come back to you, and that's something to encourage you. Your body's going to keep expressing things. You're going to keep interpreting things and understanding them, and this is only going to get better, actually. As good as you feel right now, it can grow, and it will grow if you just keep at this process of thinking about it in this way. It's like the body is, and this is what the power column is all about. The body is guiding us towards our best self and towards what we need. And when we have physical pains or symptoms, it is essentially ourselves complaining or getting cranky about the fact that we don't have what we need. And we can only take it for so long. We can take it for decades. But eventually, and this actually happens more as you get older, you can't take it as much because we start to feel we're running out of time, which is one of your emotional themes, if I recall correctly. Your body is your best friend here. It's saying, Edgar, let's get on the horse now. We got to get you what you need.
Yeah.
And that's how I view pain through the power perspective. So you said, all right, let's think about these questions in relation to the self, others, and the symptoms. We're already hearing that your life with you has gotten more powerful. You seem like you're in a pretty good space with yourself. We will continue to grow that. But one thing that I want you to do is to pay attention to when you feel powerful or not with yourself. Because if you don't, you always have a chance to say, wait a minute, why not? What shifted here? You know I talked about that we're moment-to-moment beings. We're not always the same. You're going to shift in and out of power some. Like even earlier today, I was doing certain things I didn't feel as powerful, and then I recognized it. Just by recognizing it, we have a chance to look at it and say, how can I choose a more powerful path for myself? How can I think about my goodness or my capabilities or my goals in life or where I'm headed? And suddenly we're back into a powerful place.
Well, it's funny because the same thing happened to me earlier. And I'm starting to realize, like, I was like, why right now I'm not, like, I don't have that drive that I wanted, you know? And then I feel like it's everyday life. Like, we have our ups and downs, but it's like you say, if I could acknowledge it at least, then I'm seeing it, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of just falling into the, you know, I'm depressed or nothing's happening the way I want it or whatnot, you know?
Right. People tend to get stuck on the outside things and say, oh, I'm not feeling powerful. They don't even think of it as I'm not feeling powerful. They're just like, this sucks because this happened. Whereas if we can just start to track the ups and downs related to how we're feeling in our relationship with ourselves, then we're onto something. Then we have a very powerful tool. Okay, so now let's look at relationships with other people. Have you found that anything has been shifting in that way? Or alternatively, can you think back on relationships where you didn't feel powerful?
With other people?
Yeah.
That I didn't feel powerful.
I have an idea, but I want to hear from you first on it. Let me try something out.
Okay, go ahead.
It'll just be, I'll just start giving you ideas and we'll shape them together. So I was thinking about dating and you finding somebody for you. And I was thinking one of the ways we could think about it is I don't think you've been feeling powerful in that realm. I think you've been feeling that maybe you're the problem. That's one of which you're not, but you've been feeling that way. And when you feel maybe I'm the problem, you have just diminished your power in relation to that other person. Now you're kind of asking the question, I need to find someone who will take me, as opposed to I'm a catch. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Well, when it comes like one thing different that I've done when it comes to the relationship is that now, even at this very present, which I am single, but I am seeing someone, you know, like not nothing serious, but yeah, I am seeing someone, and I want to take it really, really slow, as opposed to like the old Edgar who just like rush, you know, like rush to do things and like try to get into it as like head in. Now I see myself holding back, taking time. Don't go crazy. Don't rush. Don't do too much that eventually you're not gonna get. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm not diving into them like I used to back in the days. Because now I want to worry about me. I want to worry about what I want. You know, like I can't get into a relationship to find happiness, because if I'm not happy within me, no one would ever make that happen for me.
Right. See, that's a very important statement and a very important concept that a lot of people do tend to miss when they're not feeling powerful. They start to get into a relationship and they think, I want to move as fast as possible to get to the place where I'm safe. And as a result, their power then goes down. They just diminished their power by feeling maybe I can't make it work. All those doubts, they diminish power. So,
and in my career, which is another thing, you know, like every relationship in the beginning, when they found out I was a comedian, they were like, they loved it. Oh my God, great, dandy. They want to come to every show, and eventually that fades away like everything else. And I travel a lot. I'm nonstop. I'm here right now, but if they call me to go somewhere tomorrow, I'll jump in a plane with no hesitation. And that part of me as well is holding back, because I don't want to drag nobody along with that. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone could handle the being in a relationship with an entertainer who's on the road and traveling, you know?
But what would be a powerful stance? What's something you can say to yourself that would be more powerful than that? I have an idea if you want me to take a stab at it, but
what do you mean? In what way, though? Like,
well, okay, I'll give you my example. You could take a different stance with yourself on that and choose a powerful stance, and that powerful stance would be, I don't need to apologize for who I am or what I do or what comes with what I do. I'm just going to unapologetically be me, and the right person or the right people will be fine with it. That's a more powerful stance.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, yeah.
That's how you can, what I just did is like a power column action step. When we do the action steps next time, we're going to look at things like that. What can you actually do with self-talk or with a decision or a way of doing things? And that could change everything. I mean, let's say with the person you're dating right now, you're going on the road for a while, and you could not be so apologetic about it. You could say, hey, this goes with the territory of me, you know, but how do you want to handle it? You know, should we be in touch? Should we do Zoom calls? Do you want to come with me on part of it? You get to decide, of course, but the key is to not apologize for who you are. I used to apologize for who I was a lot. I don't do that anymore.
Well, yeah. And neither have I for a little while either. You know, like this is who I am. I don't wanna apologize. You met me this way. This is, you know.
Yeah, be who you are.
I have to do this, and I don't want to feel guilty for me leaving to go to work. You know what I'm saying? Like it's. But like I said, not everyone accepts that. So me seeing whether it's this person I'm seeing now or whatnot, like I have to let them like see how they react towards those things. Because we all say things in the beginning like, oh yeah, no, I'm fine with it. Yeah, it's great. Everything is fine. And but deep down inside it's not. Deep down inside you have a problem with it. And if you don't communicate that problem with me, I'm gonna think you're fine, and then boom, then later on it just becomes a way bigger thing.
Yep,
and so now I study the other person as well. As much as I'm studying myself and what I want, I'm also studying that other person because I don't want to make that mistake. Yeah, and waste time again. Waste a few years and then boom, be back at square one again.
But this is a more powerful stance. You're saying my time is worth something. Maybe you're even saying the other person's time is worth something as well. But you're not going to waste time not being you. So this is good. So power is going up in your relationship with you. Power is going up in your relationship with other people. I mean, we use dating as an example, but it could happen. There's a power dynamic in everything. Potentially. You can have a power dynamic when you're ordering a sandwich. I say that jokingly, but it really is true. You go to the counter and if you're like,
go ahead.
Well, if you're like, I'm going to order a sandwich that some people might think is weird, the powerful stance would be like, here's what I want, make it for me. Instead of being like, I don't know if this is okay, or being apologetic. Oh, I'm sorry to make you do that.
Oh, it's confident. It's what you want.
Right.
And if we're not confident in it, then how we would expect anyone to have confidence in us if we can't be confident with what we say or do?
Yeah, well that's where true confidence in my model, true confidence comes from feeling powerful. When you feel powerful within you and in relation to other people, then you can be very confident in things. And that brings me to the third one, symptoms. The same is true with the symptoms. The more confident you become that you can do things to change the symptoms, the more powerful you become in relation to the symptoms. You have become much more powerful in relation to your symptoms from the time we met, and it has not been long.
And I have like living proof, like I could actually tell what's in my mind and what's not. For example, yesterday I went on a hike. I did 4-mile hike. My body was sore. Which is, I went on a hike. I don't hike every day, so I felt like my body's sore. But in my mind, I also knew that was only temporary. That's not physical pain. Like that. I feel sore because I exercise. I feel good about it.
Yep.
So I'm learning my pains more. I could tell, like this pain in my leg, it's a real good trigger. And that's the one I'm trying to control the most, And it happened last week at Vegas, and it can't. And now the fact that I don't have it now, so I'm waiting for it to come back to see if I could finally pin what's happening with this pain.
Yep.
Because all the other ones, the knee, the neck, it's great. I still can't turn as I wish, but like I feel great. I just feel tight. I feel like I need to stretch more. But other than that, like the actual pain that I haven't felt.
Yeah, because mobility is a different question than pain. But one thing I want to say that might be just a good thing for you to hold on to is there are no physical conditions that are chronic unless they are a major medical condition. And most things are not a major medical condition, and no musculoskeletal stuff is. So it's all acute. Even if it lasted a year, it was acute for a year as opposed to chronic. Yeah. That means you can control it at any moment. So you're now becoming more powerful with yourself, with others, and with your symptoms. And it's only going to get better. You might have days where you dip down or a doubt pops up and you feel worse. It's not going to be perfect, but it is an upward trajectory the whole time, even when you dip back down some. And so
I think you need them because it opens your eyes. You know,
it does.
Like
and
I
it's
was doing
information.
really good for the first 2 sessions, and then this happened, and now I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It's a reality. You know, like it opens your eyes, like to keep on wanting and searching and looking inside your mind even more. You know,
that's beautifully said. It also builds your confidence. You know, this thing that happened in Vegas. Well, I shouldn't say it does build your confidence. In your case, it's going to, because you handled it well and you figured out what it was about. For some people, a setback can be very scary. They call it a setback. And don't even have to call it a setback. But an experience where the pain spikes again. Some people can freak out about that and start to feel not powerful. You instead stuck with it, kept thinking about what does this mean. And by doing that work, you're much better off than some of the people that I've worked with who get a cure just like instantly. And then they're fine for months and months and months. But then when it comes back in, they don't have the strength you do from having had the adversity right there, which is the point you're making. I just want to highlight it because I think it's a great one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because the other day I was with someone and they complained about a pain that they had, you know? And I looked at them and I said, you know, that's all in your mind, right? And they looked at me like I was crazy. Like, yeah, get the hell out of here, man. I said, dude, it's in your mind, you know? And now I'm seeing it more, you know what I'm saying? So like now you look at other people when they complain about their pain, you're like, well, like, if you control your mind, you know? So it's like I'm noticing the difference in me.
Yeah.
When it comes to my body, you know, and I'll preach it as much as I can. And the better I get at it, and the better, you know, I'll preach it just as much as you preach it, you know, because it is true. You know, I see people complaining about things, and I'm like, you know, is it?
Well, and here's the thing, and I know you'll agree with this because it's one of the first things I said to you, but it's important that we say it. It's not that it's in your head. It's not fake. But it is from your head, and I know that's what you're saying. So that's what we remind people of. It comes from the mind. It becomes real in the body. But I share this with you. When I walk outside and I see somebody limping, I think about things so differently now that I don't think, I wonder if they have some kind of condition or if they have arthritis or if they got hit by a car. I think, what is bothering them emotionally? That's automatically what I think.
Do you feel like you need to help all of them? Like, is it a thing? Like
I mean, I don't stick my nose everywhere I go because it would get probably annoying for some people.
Yeah.
But I'm at the ready. As soon as I get the slightest hint that people are wondering what it's about or is there something they can do, then I will say, well, you know what? I actually I help people with this kind of thing. This may be the kind of thing that can help. Maybe you want to check out my podcast. When I have my book written, I'll get in my book, things like that. So I'm always ready. I'm always ready to help. And in the meantime, I want more and more people to understand this concept, which is why I do this podcast and why I'm so grateful to you for coming on and being open to experiencing it. It spreads the word. It helps people to see what is going on. How might we think about this stuff? And so I do feel that I need to help everybody. Not in a way where I feel pressured about it, but where I'm ready to.
See, I'm like you when I look at someone like that. Now, you say maybe they have arthritis or an accident or whatnot. I think about what's going on in their mind.
Exactly.
You know, what are these people thinking? What's going on in your mind mentally? Like my father, yesterday I spoke to my father. He said, oh, my knees are killing me. I can't walk. I can't do this. And it's like you want to tell him, but how do you tell an old school Latino father that, you know, papi, there's no pain. It's all in your head, you know, like you got to think about it. But I notice it even more, you know, like not just in me, like in other people as well, you know, and it just
actually, well, let me make a recommendation to you. If you want to help other people with this, one of the things you could do, I find it's usually not going to be helpful if you tell them it's in their head. It's better to say, and more accurate actually, to say pain is a misunderstood thing, and you can actually get control of the pain using your mind. That's a way that many more people would be able to accept it, and it also is more accurate. So because nobody's making up pain. It's real.
Yeah.
The pain receptors are firing. It's all real. But what you could do to help them feel that there's a way that this might be appealing to them or they could be open to it is to say, you can break the feedback loop between the mind and the body and get relief. Mm-hmm. That's what we've done. We didn't really discover that your pain was fake. That's not what it was.
No. The pain is real. It's like when I met you and you told me if you would have met me 6 months ago, I would have never gone to surgery, you know? And not a day goes by now that I think about that, you know? And it's, I can't regret it because I'm not going to regret what happened. You know, I'm not going to apologize or regret for what happened. I did it at that moment. I feel like I needed to do it. But now I'm thinking, I was saying, man, I'm wondering if I could have controlled that pain. I'm wondering if it was of all the triggers. I'm thinking of all the triggers that could have caused that pain.
If you had the right information, but you didn't.
If I had the right information, yeah, you know.
You
so
it's
I don't. Like I said, I don't regret it, but it's a lesson. It's a lesson, and it's a true one. You know, like damn, I wonder what would have happened if I would have known this.
Yeah. Well, here's another way of thinking about it that I think you'll really like. Any surgery that you might have had in the future because of this, now you won't.
Oh yeah.
We probably have avoided surgeries for you with this.
I'll give you a perfect example. Maybe that pain on my leg, that numbness that I'm feeling on my leg. You know, I could tell myself, I'm sorry, I have landscapers.
Oh, that's okay.
Not personally for me, for the building. All right, but listen. So like maybe before I met you and this happened, I would have thought that pain was caused by the 2 pinched nerves in my lower back.
Yep.
You know, I was already in my head thinking before we started that the fact that they replaced the 2 herniated discs, now it's more pressure and it's causing pressure in the back, and now I'm getting the numbness in the legs, which I felt before,
right? But
it's just weird on my left leg. And then you'll go to a doctor and they'll be like, okay, you know what? Surgery. That's the first thing they go to, you know? And I'm grateful. I thank you because that would have been the direction that most likely I would have gone.
Yeah.
You know, knowing that I've already gotten 2 surgeries from, you know, the same fall.
And there are a lot of people who just keep getting surgeries, hoping and hoping and hoping. And I empathize with them all. So, Edgar, we got to stop for today. But next time we meet, next week, we're going to go through some action steps, which you've already been doing a beautiful job with in all 3 columns. But we're going to give you some specific ideas that you can utilize in each to enhance that. And then we keep in touch about this. I mean, we'll be in touch anyway, but about this, you can always contact me and, you know, say, all right, it's presenting this way. What would this be? Which column should I be looking in? Is there an action step I should be thinking of? We're going to get you more and more of that information, but you're doing a beautiful job. And
thank you.
I'm proud of you and I'm happy for you. Really happy to see you doing so well.
Thank you so much. I am proud of me too, and thank you for opening my eyes and, you know, and letting me see I mean, I am a different person, dude. I am. I feel like in the past couple of weeks I've been through some things that have opened my eyes and showing me different. So, and it has a lot to do with you. So, thank you, brother.
Thank you, Edgar. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Have a good one. Let me go wipe this sweat off my forehead. I feel like I just boxed the fight. And I'm like, and then the fan is facing that way. And like, you know how long for this whole interview? I was like, can I just go turn the fan?
Okay, hey, listen. Next time, assert your power and say, hey, Dr. Dan, I gotta go turn the fan.
Thank you. Lesson learned. Thank you, Dr. Dan.
All right, great seeing you, Edgar.
All right, likewise.
It's pretty mind-blowing to see how far Edgar has come in such a short amount of time. I don't want anyone who it takes some extra time for to feel threatened by it, because he really soaks it up very quickly. There's certain people who maybe connect with my way of thinking in a particular way, and it takes a little less time to iron out, but you can see he's just hitting the ground running. He's used the emotions column well. He's using the doubt column well. He's learning to recognize his pain is a mind-body thing. His doubt is coming down. A lot of things are going really well, and maybe some of it's, just good timing. Maybe he was really ready for this in a way that some people aren't at that stage as much. But what we see is that he is soaking it up, And in this episode, he soaked up again the next piece of information on the power column. He just gets it, and it was really fun to see. But one thing to remember, and this is very important, he came in knowing nothing about this. And what it says is that all of you out there who are so hungry and thirsty for the right information, we can get it to you. We might need to work at it some, but there's always a way to get it to you, and that's all that's missing in you getting better. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below, and I'll get back to you personally.